Welcome to Brave New Yoga. My name is Amanda Upton, and I help busy mothers make self-care a daily habit. Today, I am super excited to share with you all of my predictions for 2022 in terms of self-care. So this is what I think is going to be the rage, or the things that we're going to see a lot of, hear a lot of, or that we're going to just become more aware of in 2022. Now, these predictions come from really watching and listening and paying really close attention to what is gaining traction, where there is need, and what would really propel us forward. What is it that would really make who we are as a people, who we are as women, more empowered? So, as I go through these predictions, you might be like, wait a second, this falls under the self care category. And yes, each of these things do. And I'll explain why that is as we move through it. So, without delay, here are my 2022 self care predictions. Number one, vulnerability as a path. Now, vulnerability, the terminology around that, the language of vulnerability is not new. It's something that Brene Brown has been talking about, researching, and really bringing to the forefront over the last few years. And it's just going to continue to explode. So what Brene Brown has given us is a language, an awareness. She has woken up this part of our understanding of who we are and how we can become more of ourselves. But what we're going to be seeing in 2022 is more of how we can actively practice vulnerability. Now, this is evident in the We Can Do Hard Things podcast with Glennon Doyle. This podcast gives us an incredible example of real talk, of no fake, no surface conversation, but really diving in and sharing who they're sharing who they are, what they're feeling, what they're thinking, all the deep stuff that we often hold back. Now, this podcast is the number one podcast for Apple and on Amazon. And what that tells us is that people are craving this. Thousands, millions of people are listening to the We Can Do Hard Things podcast, listening to three women talking and sharing and doing so in a very open and deep and meaningful way. We are craving this type of realness. We are craving this type of conversation. We are craving knowing that the way we feel, the way we think, what we want is that we're not alone with any of that. We're craving not feeling alone, but feeling more connected and feeling more ourselves. There's so much that we desire, so much that we want, so much we feel, so much we think, and we want to know that all of that is okay and welcomed. So we are going to see more vulnerability, more conversation around vulnerability. We're going to see more resources. We're going to see more around this. And what this is going to look like is more awareness and more resources in the workplace. This is a great thing. It's going to be slower in the workplace than it is in other sectors of our life, but it is going to start to show up there more and more. We're also going to see just more comfort, more conversation around seeking therapy, around seeking practices that really give us a sense of comfort, of safety, and really allowing us to dig into who we are. Within that same realm, as we're going to see more conversation and more people actively participating and talking about marriage counseling, about being in counseling, not only for yourselves, but working through relationship and doing so in a way to just stay healthy in a relationship, to really think about two whole people coming together and really supporting each other and letting it be a conversation about how do we maintain our wholeness and how do we create what we want together. The other part of vulnerability as a path is we're going to see more conversation, more resources, and more just that this is the norm is trauma and anxiety. We are going to see trauma and anxiety talked about as something that is a very wide experience for many, many, many people. It's something that touches many, many people. And instead of seeing it as taboo, or it's that person, or it's something that's this extreme kind of situation, it's really going to become more of a wide, expansive conversation that's more inclusive of everybody. So there are going to be more resources available. There's going to be more how-tos. There's going to be, when I say how-tos, there are going to be more examples of how do we bring vulnerability in? How do we practice vulnerability? How do we create this path of being in relationship with other people in a vulnerable way? And Esther Perel is already showing us how to do this with her game, Where Should We Begin? So you've got some examples there. Glennon Doyle's podcast, where We Can Do Hard Things, and Esther Perel's game, Where Should We Begin? If you're looking for ways to make vulnerability a path in your life. So the second prediction for 2022 is that we are going to see more on the postpartum support front. This is becoming more and more talked about. The intensity of the postpartum experience is becoming more known. This is becoming more of a wider issue, not just talking about postpartum anxiety and postpartum depression, also super huge areas, but just postpartum as a whole is going to be more recognized. And it's not going to come from government type of agencies. It's really going to be a grassroots effort where more organizations and more resources are going to be built. There's going to be more women supporting women in these areas. There's going to be more support available for postpartum moms, for moms who are experiencing all the ranges of postpartum. There's going to be more coming out for that, and that is really awesome. So my third prediction is we're going to see more women becoming entrepreneurs. And this is a really exciting thing. It's been happening, and it's really skyrocketed with the pandemic, and we're just going to keep seeing that trend increasing. So with the pandemic, women were a lot of women had to leave the workforce because it didn't work to work someplace else and manage home and children and all of that. So we're going to begin to see more women stepping into the entrepreneurial space and really claiming what their passion is on taking control of their lives and their wealth in that way, and really taking this as an opportunity to lead, to make a difference, and to build generational wealth. We see that a lot with women becoming entrepreneurs, is creating something that can be passed down. So in line with that is the fourth prediction for 2022, and that is that we are going to see financial wellness on the rise. So there are all different ways to take care of ourselves. There's the physical, the mental, the emotional, the psychological, the spiritual, and there's the financial way. And we don't hear a lot about financial wellness. It's not been this sexy topic to really talk about, but that is changing. There is a increase in money stress, specifically with women, and that is becoming more and more a topic. We're going to see more and more resources come out around this. We're going to see, like, what we've been seeing is this overwhelming impact of money stress on women's mental and physical well-being, and it's happening far more with women than it is with men. And so we're going to see some attention, lots of attention being put on that, and part of that is just admitting that financial wellness really matters, that we need to talk about this, that we need to put energy into this. So what you're going to start seeing is more resources, more organizations, more businesses being built up around this very topic, and more conversation as a result happening on how to build more confidence with money, on how to feel more in control of your money, on how to save money, how to have the skills and knowledge to manage money, and how to feel more empowered with money. And I'm talking specifically for women in financial wellness in this. If you are curious about really addressing your own financial wellness or learning more about financial wellness when it comes to women and money, I really encourage you to check out ellevest.com. That's ELLEVEST.com. They're doing a tremendous job with really supporting women in creating wealth and really building confidence with money. The fifth prediction I have for 2022 is we're going to see more and more being talked about and more resources becoming available around creating a daily spiritual practice. And this really comes from this pandemic that we're living in. So this pandemic has made it so clear that we only have so much control. There's all these external circumstances that happen in our lives, and we only have so much control over them. There's fear, there's negativity, there's uncertainty, and we're looking for a way to hold on. We're looking for a way to feel like everything's going to be okay, that we're connected, that we are feeling that there is a greater power, that we are looking for something to guide us and ground us and really just hold us and take care of us. And for many of us, that is going to be through a daily spiritual practice. And the daily spiritual practice can look like prayer, it can look like meditation, affirmations, mantras, being in nature. It can look so many different ways, but we're going to be seeing more around this, more seeking of a spiritual practice, more ways to connect in a deeper, wider, more meaningful way. And my sixth prediction and final prediction for 2022 is that self care is going to become more soul care. So, the predictions that I have already shared, they may sound like, really, that's self care? And they all are ways of caring for ourselves. What we tend to think of with self care is a glass of wine and a bubble bath and eating chocolate. And those are very surface self care practices. But what we're going to be seeing more of is more in depth ways to take care of ourselves. For women specifically, there is going to be more conversation around, I have a deep desire, I have needs, I have questions, I have like this greater capacity for life and for living on purpose. And that is really going to come from practicing self-care in this soul care way, where we are addressing the whole person, where we are looking at all the different ways in which we kind of function and all the different ways in which we need to address all these different parts of ourselves to feel whole and complete. So you're going to be seeing more of that. And that is super exciting because that's what we need to feel just more energized and more connected and definitely more whole and authentic. Now, if you are very curious about these predictions and specifically like soul care, interesting, I want you to join my Soul Care Tribe Facebook page, where I am going to be really supporting you on this soul care journey and really taking self-care in terms of the surface practices to a much deeper, much more meaningful place to help you feel much more supported, seen, heard, and valued for who you are. Okay, that's all I have for you. The 6 predictions for 2022 self-care. I'd love to know which one of you are most excited about in the comments below. And please click subscribe. Now let me know that you want more videos like this one. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time.